to my channel. This is Elisa here. So if you have not seen any of my videos, I thank you for coming in for the first time, but I hope that you stick around. So I definitely want you to hit that subscribe button and become a part of my team. Like, I appreciate you, definitely. But if you've been here before, welcome back. But as you can see from today's title, I want to talk about having the proper support system around you. It's very important in life, no matter what you want to do. And I know a lot of times, especially for those of us who are used to being like self-sufficient, or you're used to doing everything yourself, and for yourself, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't need anyone to support me. I'm gonna do whatever I wanna do. I'm gonna get it done anyway. That may very well be true. That may very well be the case. But the reality is that everyone needs support of some sort. So whether someone helps you at some point in your life, helps you up, kind of gives you a handout, whatever you want to call it, or someone that's just cheering you on, like, we all need that at some point, and that is totally fine. It's totally natural and normal. And I think sometimes we have too much pride where we're like, oh, I don't need anyone. I did this by myself. I got here by myself. And the reality is you didn't. No matter who it was that may have given you that help or that support, it could have been an employer that gave you a chance. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a significant other, a best friend, a family member that's, really cheering you on. But somebody could have given you the handout and the opportunity that you needed to get to where you want to go. However, what I want to talk about is the boundaries that we set and recognizing like who is proper support, who should be around you, who needs to go. A lot of times also we get used to having certain people in our lives. Usually that comes in forms of, whether a significant other, a lot of times our friends. We just don't know when it is time for that person to go, when they're no longer serving you a positive purpose. And I think sometimes you can get stuck in a situation because it's familiar, it's what you know, it's who you've known for so long, and sometimes you can wrap that up into wanting to bring someone along with you wherever you're supposed to go, and sometimes they're not supposed to go, or you want to prove to them that you can succeed so bad. You want them to be close by so that they can see it, almost as if that would make the relationship better or stronger. And sometimes that's not what you want, because that can get confused with, you could take someone along with you that's not supposed to go, and they could very well just be using you for your benefits or, your popularity or, whatever it is, or just the connections that you have. That's not what you want. You don't want to be used by that person, and confuse it for being admired or support. But that can very well happen. But we definitely you have to have honest conversations with yourself about when it is time for someone to go. I know personally for myself, like, and I think everyone has had experiences where maybe you've been in a relationship just a little too long, than you were supposed to, because you wanted it to work, you were trying to force it to work, you're hoping that person is going to change, and it just may never happen. But also definitely for me in friendships, a lot of my friends, fortunately, I've been friends with for a long time, but I'm a very social person, so it's very easy for me to make friends. That's just always how I've been. But of my closest, most of them, have been around my life for years, and I mean like over 10-15 years. So, that's a fortunate thing. But sometimes also because you may grow up with someone or meet them at a certain age where maybe at that time you guys did have a lot in common, and you seem to be each other's biggest cheerleaders and supporters. Things change over the years. You grow, whether you start as preteen, grow into teenagers and young adults to full adults, and things change, life happens, and sometimes your interests, they change, your aspirations change, and they may not match up anymore. So sometimes if someone sees you changing, not for the worse, but just changing because it's different from what they've known you to be, sometimes they can try to stand in the way of that. And it's sad, but it happens. Because it could be something just personally with them. It may not even be the way that you're treating them. You may not necessarily be treating them differently, and they just may see a difference that they don't like, or they don't want to get left behind. and it happens, like I've definitely witnessed it. And sometimes you just really got to just evaluate the situation, the relationship, to see, okay, things have changed, things are not the same anymore, I'm not getting the same amount of support or positivity. And in my personal experience, I've had so-called friends like trying to talk me out of pursuing the career that I wanted to pursue, and telling me that I should just take a job that basically we knew was a dead-end job. So that's not positive support. That's not gonna aid for my benefit in the long run, but it was their reality. So it was like, you want me to be where you are, and I guess you want me to stay there too because you're comfortable. I'm not comfortable with being comfortable. So that's always going to be an issue for me. So I'm always going to push and strive and sometimes take a risk to see what happens. But I'm always, at the end of the day, going to pursue whatever it is that I want to pursue. I've even had people tell me crazy things, as far as saying like, oh, you need to go ahead and have kids because, you're not getting any younger, blah, blah, blah. And I'm definitely not having them for anybody else. But again, this was this person's situation. And the crazy thing is like a lot of times you can see through people's BS and their so-called advice that they're giving, because you can look at their situation and realize that they don't even like their situation, or what they're telling you should do is what they're doing and they're not even happy. So why would I join you in your misery? Like, why would I do that? I wouldn't set myself up like that. And sometimes you can just see people going through certain things and you can learn from it. Like, you don't actually have to physically put yourself through it to learn the same lesson. You can just watch and see and say, you know what, I don't even want that. Like, I don't want anything like that. So I wouldn't even put myself in that position. I'm not going to sell myself short. But sometimes people are just selling and projecting their situation onto you, and they want you to join them. They want you to come and be comfortable and sit down and stay in the background and just be complacent and, like I literally witnessed it, and it was like I had to come to the conclusion, like, I realized with a particular person that every time I was sharing, information or news or talking to them about anything that was going on in my life, I was always getting this negative response. It became a regular thing. It was always a negative response. It was dismissing what I was saying, and it started to become a regular thing. And so, I just realized that I can't keep this person around me personally and close by because they don't mean me well, provided their opinion was not going to change anything about my course of life. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It really wasn't. No matter if I kept them close, but in times like that, it's like you don't even need to be close by. Even if I know I can repel this, I know I'm not going to let you deter me from anything that I want to do. But also at the same time, I don't want to hear the negativity. So, you don't need to be close by to see what's going on. If you don't believe in me, if you don't want to support anything that I'm doing, that is fine. But you also can't be here, and that's just what it is. And sometimes it's hard because, and in a relationship of any sort of friendship, romantic relationship, even if it's family, even if you gotta separate yourself from family, like, it may be hard, but a lot of times it is necessary, because that weight that comes off of you when you can make those hard decisions, it is so worth it in the long run. So you don't want to lose yourself. You also don't want someone around. You don't know what they could be praying over you, what energy they could be putting over you. So like I said, you may be strong enough to deflect what it is they're trying to put on you, or not taking it personally what they're saying to you, but you still don't want someone just projecting that bad energy over you, that negativity. Like I said, you never know who could be blocking your blessings. So that is a big part of making sure you have the right people around you. Like, anybody that is, some things are just textbook right and wrong, So it's like if somebody is telling you the textbook version of something that is wrong, and they want you to do it, like, it's clear. They have made it clear. There's nothing you even need to consider at that point. Like, you just need to make the decision. Because they could never argue it down and say, well, yeah, I told her I wanted her to do this. In anybody's mind, it would be like, that doesn't even sound right. So they couldn't even argue that to a positive point. You know what I mean? Like, But it's important to get the right people around you. There's nothing wrong with making new friends and connections and networking, like nothing at all, because a lot of times you get complacent with your circle and they can't offer you anymore. And it doesn't mean use, abuse, and then dispose of them. That's not what that means. What it means is, you know, when people are like, no new friends, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, I always meet new friends. I'm always gonna network and meet somebody new, but people who are really in my life know their position in my life, so that's not gonna change. But am I always gonna level up and talk to people and meet new people because maybe they can help me out, give me advice in certain areas I don't know about? Like I'm conscious enough to say that, there's a lot of things I may not know, or certain things I'm not an expert in. So I will gladly seek advice from someone who is an expert. However, there are people who think they are experts at everything and giving advice. And sometimes you do have to look at their situation and say, you're giving real estate advice, but you don't own anything. Like anything. You know what I mean? Or, someone wants to tell you about how to invest, but they're not invested in anything. They're not broke. They can tell you all day long what you should do, but they're not doing anything. So sometimes you do have to step back and say, okay, I want advice from the expert. I want advice from the person that is in that situation. And that is kind of a motto that I have for life, is if I don't want your life, or if I don't want to be in your situation, I can't take your advice. Because what can you tell me? There's nothing you can tell me. You know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, most of us are in this world and we're all just trying to figure out this thing called life on our own. But there are some people that have, taken an interest in certain areas, whether it be finances, investments, real estate, beauty, healthcare, whatever. I'm gonna seek the expert with experience, and you look the part, and not just somebody that is doing 10 times worse than me, but somehow you have all the information on how to get there. Because if you knew how to do it, you'd have done it yourself, right? You didn't. So I can't take your advice. At this point, it's null and void. Sometimes you just have to put people in their place. And I think social media has a big part in that, is trying to tell people what they should and should not do, what they can and cannot do. Everybody's a guru in something. Everybody. And I always say, a lot of times, like when I make my videos, like, because I talk about dating a lot, but I always say in my videos, like, I don't give dating advice. I can tell you about my experiences, and some things are just textbook right and wrong. So if I just reiterate it, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? But I can't sit here and tell you, like, how to have a successful marriage, or, because that's not my situation. I'm not even married. So I couldn't tell you that. You know what I mean? I can tell you about my experiences in dating, what has worked, what hasn't worked, things like that. But I would never sit here, because we all, a lot of us, our situations are different. We're different people. We have different wants and needs. So what I want and need out of a man may not be what you want and need out of a man, and vice versa. So I don't want to hear from the next person either, because I may need and want something different. You know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. That is totally okay. But, people have become comfortable with standing on a podium to tell people what they should and should not do. The only thing I'm gonna tell you that you should do 24/7, 365, honey, is live your life to the best of your ability, because you only get one. You only get one. So whatever it is that it takes for you to fulfill your life and make it the most memorable, the most fulfilling, like, do what you need to do. If it's traveling, there are going to be people that tell you, no, you shouldn't travel here. Oh, it's dangerous. And I'm not even talking about COVID. Like, I'm talking about before. If you want to take a solo trip, I've taken a solo trip before. And of course I heard it's dangerous. Don't do this, don't do that. But these are people that would never do it. They would never take a solo trip. It was the best trip I have ever had. Almost. But it was one of the best trips I've ever had, was to take a solo trip. It was so relaxing. I didn't have the stress of having to worry about other people, being on board, being at a certain place at a certain time, getting your money together, and what do you want to do today? I don't want to do this. I didn't have to worry about anybody but myself, and it turned out to be one of my best experiences ever. So don't let people project their fears onto you. Do what you want to do. Live your life. You only have one life to live. And COVID should teach us a lot of things. You never know when the things that you are used to could get ripped from you. You know, like we thought we just living day to day, you know, never thought that was gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like we couldn't really prepare for it. So it's like now everybody's like, oh, you know, we can go back outside, like I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do all of that and blah blah blah. When in actuality we probably should have had that mindset all along, but it's not really reality until it's reality. You know what I mean? So you just gotta let people go if they need to go. Like, you know, don't let people scare you out of things. You may have your best experiences in just taking that little bit of a leap and doing what you want to do, because sometimes that is something in you that people see that they hate, is that you're willing to take the risk and take the jump, and they wouldn't do it. So they don't want you to experience it either, or they don't want you to do it without them. And hell, sometimes people just gotta be left behind. It is what it is, but your life goes on, so will theirs. And that's all I got for y'all. So I hope this was some good information, some good insight, something that can help you. You know, I hope it's a message that somebody needed on today, honey. But I thank you guys for coming back to my channel. That's all I got for you guys today. Oh, and if you're curious about this purple velvet number, it's a dress from Fashion Nova. Oh, I guess I gotta say this. Ain't this what the YouTubers do? This is not sponsored. I paid for this with my own coin. I've had this dress for a little while, but whatever, just in case you wanted to know. But anyways, guys, I thank you for coming back to my channel again. You will see me again soon. I like talking to you guys. But definitely, if you didn't do it in the beginning of my video, I need you to do it now. But I need you to subscribe and like and comment below. You know, if you have any experience, any comments, I will definitely respond to you. But I thank you guys for coming in today. Bye.